400 people. I want you to sit with that number for a second before I tell you anything else. 9,400 gone in 45 minutes, in water so cold it killed you before you had time to be afraid. I was there, obviously. The paperwork that night was, I'll be honest, unreasonable. January 30th, 1945. The Baltic Sea. A German ocean liner called the Wilhelm Gustloff is moving through the dark, carrying over 10,000 people, not soldiers. Mostly civilians, mothers, children, old men who could barely stand, people who had packed one bag, grabbed whoever they could, and run. Because the Soviet army was coming, and everyone in their path knew exactly what that meant. The ship was built for 1,500 passengers. 10,582 people were on it. I've done a lot of work in my career. I've been at plagues. I've been at battles that lasted weeks. I've been at disasters so large they don't have names, just numbers. What happened to the Wilhelm Gustloff is the single deadliest maritime disaster in recorded human history. And I would estimate that roughly 60% of you have never heard of it. There's a reason for that. I'll get to it. It's the part of this story that stayed with me long after the souls were collected. But first, I need you to understand who was on that ship. Her name was Eva Dorn. She was 31 years old. She had 2 children, a daughter, 7, and a son, 4. She had packed their clothes the night before. She had sewn her jewelry into the lining of her coat, because that's what you do when you know you're not coming back to your house. Eva had walked 17 kilometers in the snow to reach the port of Gdynia. She had waited in a line so long she couldn't see the end of it. When the guards finally let her through, she wept. She had made it. She was on the ship. The ship left port at 12:30 p.m. on January 30th. At 9:16 p.m., Alexander Marinesko, captain of the Soviet submarine S-13, fired the first torpedo. Eva's daughter was asleep on her lap when the hull exploded. Survivors described it the same way, over and over, in testimony collected by German historians, particularly in the documented records compiled by Heinz Schön, a young crew member who survived and spent decades gathering accounts. The first impact sounded like the ship had run into a wall, not an explosion. A wall. Then the lights went out. Then the screaming started. The second torpedo hit 17 seconds later. The third hit the engine room. The ship began to tilt, hard, fast, to the port side. Within 4 minutes of the third impact. 4 minutes. Here is what that means on a ship carrying 10,000 people in the middle of the night. Every corridor becomes a funnel. Every staircase becomes a collapse point. The tilt alone, before anyone drowned, before anyone froze, killed hundreds. People fell. People were crushed against walls. People were trampled by the thousands behind them who couldn't see where they were going because the lights were gone. The lifeboats were frozen to their davits. The water temperature was -10 degrees Celsius. Imagine you are on that deck right now. It is 9:21 p.m. The deck is listing so sharply that standing requires both hands gripping something. Anything. The air smells like fuel oil and seawater and something burnt. You can hear the ship's metal groaning the way metal is not supposed to groan. Around you, people are not running. They are moving in a mass, a single thing, and the mass is going toward the rail, and some of them are going over it. You hear a child. You cannot tell where. The water below is black. The air temperature is -18. You know, and everyone on that deck knows that the water will kill you in under 5 minutes. Not drown you, kill you. Your muscles will simply stop. The lifeboats that were freed hold maybe 1,200 people total. There are 10,000 people on the ship. You do the math, of the children aboard. And there were thousands of them. Exact records were lost in the chaos of evacuation, but survivor testimonies consistently describe decks crowded with babies and toddlers. Many were loaded into lifeboats as a priority. This was the right decision. It didn't help them. The davit mechanisms on several lifeboats had seized in the cold. When the boats were finally released, they dropped at an angle, spilling passengers into the sea. Others launched correctly, but the tilt of the ship had become so severe that the boats scraped against the hull on the way down, capsizing on impact with the water. Some lifeboats made it. Children were in them. They were dead when the rescue ships arrived. Frozen solid, upright. Small faces pointing at the sky. I don't reach for dark jokes after that one. Some things just are what they are. The Wilhelm Gustloff sank at 10:01 p.m., 45 minutes from first torpedo to gone. Of 10,582 people aboard, approximately 1,152 survived. The Titanic, the ship everyone knows, the ship with the movie, the ship that has been grieved for over a century, lost 1,417 people. This ship lost more than 9,400. That is every person in the city of, pick a mid-size American town. Aspen, Colorado, population roughly 8,000. Now add 1,200 more. Now kill all of them tonight in the water while it's snowing. That is one ship, one night, one submarine. Captain Alexander Marinesko returned to port and was celebrated as a hero of the Soviet Union. Professionally speaking, and I have watched humanity hand out medals for a very long time, that one gave me pause. So why don't you know this story? Here is the twist, and it is not a comfortable one. The victims were German. Germany lost the war. The world was still counting its own dead from what Germany had done. The camps, the invasions, the 6 years of industrialized slaughter. By the time the war ended in May 1945, there was simply no space in the global consciousness to grieve German civilians. The survivors who returned home were told, explicitly and implicitly, to be quiet. Their loss was politically inconvenient. The Soviet Union, now an ally of the West, had no interest in publicizing what its celebrated captain had done. The Wilhelm Gustloff existed in German memory as a wound that couldn't be named in public. Eva Dorn survived. She was pulled from the water after 11 minutes. 11 minutes in negative 10-degree water, which should not be survivable and occasionally, stubbornly, is. She lost her son. Her daughter survived. She never spoke about it publicly, not once. She died in 1987. I've been at a lot of endings. That one I remember. Next time, the Black Death arrives in Europe, specifically the port of Messina, 1347, 12 ships, and a smell so bad that the harbor master tried to turn them away. He was too late by about 3 weeks. I was not.